Hello, hello.
Hello, Jasmine. It's good to speak with you today. I'm excited to chat about retirement and educators and debunking a lot of things that people probably didn't know.
Yes, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. I know I'll kind of paint the story for everyone. When I came to you, like I was a teacher and I was like, I have this retirement, but I don't know what to do with it. I think it was maybe about 2 years since I left. And I really didn't know what to do with it. And I think that was even before I left, just for y'all know, like I was a teacher for over 8 years and I just didn't know what my options were. I knew I wanted to leave, but I also knew, okay, teachers, we have this good retirement. Don't leave it. Or, I'm vested, all these things where I'm just like, I don't really know what this means, but I want to leave and I don't know what to do. So for me, what I did was I found out that okay, I could just leave and my retirement will be sitting there. And I knew that I had options to roll it over, but I really didn't even know. I really didn't even know. And I have even a lot of clients or people who like want to work with me, but they're like, oh, I don't know what to do with it. But long story short, I know what to do with it. I work with you to be able to roll it over into my IRA, all of things. And I know the general understanding, but I know this conversation will be so helpful for other educators who just don't know.
Yeah, that's so good. And so many people I know educators can relate to that. So, first of all, my name is Akira. I am a money coach for women professionals and entrepreneurs who want to have money left over every single month. And I help them do it with the money that they have right now so that they do not have to wait on more income in order to do it. And in fact, when you don't wait, it means that when more income does come, it can be sent to exactly where you want it to go and not get caught up in, things that are behind or things that you need to catch up on. And so when Jasmine came to me, she had just left well, no, you had just left
My full time
your ed
corporate.
tech. Yeah,
Mhm.
your ed tech role.
Awesome. Mhm.
And at that point, your retirement from your educator career
Yeah.
had just been sitting there while you were in ed tech.
Mhm.
And when she told me this, I was like, whoa, what? First of all, we need to do something about that. Second of all, like, where is it? How much is it? Let's figure out, what your options are. And I think one of the biggest things that holds a lot of people back, and this is not even specific to educators, this is true for people who may want to be an entrepreneur but feel like they don't want to leave their retirement behind. Maybe you've been in your career for 15 years and feel like you have so much money in that career that you are like, I'm not like, I worked too hard to build up all this money. I'm not just going to leave it behind.
Mhm.
And first of all, the truth is that you don't have to. Number one,
Yep.
you don't have to leave it behind. One thing that, and I know it's hard to kind of wrap your mind around because investing is this topic that people
Mhm.
are scared about. They feel like they don't know enough about it and they don't want to do anything different because they are scared that they're going to lose it. And so the first thing that I want to say is that you are not alone. There are
Yes.
so many people that do not understand investing, but it doesn't mean that you can't learn,
Mhm.
right? And I will even give my own story to make everyone feel better and realize that it's literally not the end of the world. I was an engineer, so my background is in engineering. I'm a chemical engineer, and my very first job out of college, I left at 2 weeks before the 3-month mark. 2 weeks.
Mm.
I was so ready to be out of there, like, I was checked out. I mean, checked out. And I remember this was 2019. 2020, I got quarantined from my new job that I was at, and I was like, "All right, it's time to finally, like, learn about this stock market." I like, there's no reason that I shouldn't know how this works, and so I just went all in, right? And at that time, I was like, "Okay, I'm going to figure out what I'm gonna do with my retirement that was at this job that I previously left." And so I went to do a rollover. And for those that don't know, a rollover is when you have a retirement account with an employer and you leave that employer. And so what you can do is you can roll it over to another retirement account with a whole nother firm. Okay. So this is what I was doing. And I remember calling them up and being like, all right, I'm ready to initiate my rollover. And them telling me how much the rollover was. And I'm looking on the screen like, you missing a couple tens of $1,000, like, girl, that math ain't mathin'. What do you
Mhm.
mean? And they were like, "Oh, you weren't fully vested." Mind you, I knew what it mean to be fully vested. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it means some employers require you to stay with them for a certain period of time before you can roll over or take with you what they have contributed to your retirement account. So think of it like this. You have a retirement account, and let's say you put your own apples in that account, and then while you with your employer, they also match those apples. So for every one, they may put another one, or for every one apple, they put half an apple, right? And they say, okay, in order for you to take all the apples, the ones that you put in and the ones that we put in, you have to stay employed with us for at least 2 years or 3 years. Those are the most common. And if you don't stay with us for 2 years or 3 years or whatever that vested date is, it's called your vested date. Then when you leave, you can only take your apples. You can't take the ones that we also put in. And so
Mm,
when I say I left 2 weeks before my vested date, it
mm,
literally means I
mm,
left 2 weeks before I was with that employer for 3 years. Had I stayed
mm,
2 more weeks, I would have been able to take all the apples, not
mm,
just the ones that I put in, right? And it was about like I was like, "Girl, are you kidding me?
mm.
You couldn't stay 2 more weeks? Girl." And so I was like, "Okay, whatever. It's not the end of the world." And I still hit 100K invested by 30.
Oh, look at you.
So I say all that to say it's scary when you don't know how it works. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm still gonna get to the goal, right?
Mm,
It is helpful to know how it works and be able to make those confident decisions, and even if you don't, it's also not the end of the world. So, I say that as someone who literally left their job 2
mm,
weeks before being invested, like, I get it, and I still hit 100K before 30, so, all is not lost, and for anyone who's out there, you have options. I don't
mm,
care if you're an educator, I don't care if you're in the nonprofit space, I don't care if you're in just a normal 9 to 5 corporate baddie, whatever. You've got options. Now, those options change depending on what type of account you have, depending on how long you stay with that employer, but you do have options. And when Jasmine and I were working together, what we did is what we sat down for a whole session,
yep.
we did 2 sessions. And I was like,
Mhm,
"Okay, let's figure out exactly what kind of account you had, who it's with, how much money you had in there, if you're fully vested," like all these things we were
yes.
able to do on the call. And we rolled over your account in I think like 2 sessions. And
Yeah.
now
Mhm,
invested, and now you are contributing money even outside of an employer. Like you don't have to be with an employer in order to contribute to your retirement or
mm,
contribute to any sort of investment account. That's another thing that people don't realize is that in order for me to contribute to my retirement, I have to be with an employer. No, that's not true. And so truly it takes putting the fear aside,
mm,
learning the different options that you have, and especially for educators. When
mm,
Jasmine told me that some of her clients were telling her that they are scared to leave because they don't wanna lose their retirement, and they have stayed in this career for
mhm.
decades. I was like, "Girl, oh,
Yeah.
no, we gotta do a podcast on this because, baby,
Let
please
me
know that you have options. Make that decision while knowing what your options are because we can't do that."
listen, let me tell you. So just for the ones who are listening on Curious Podcast, so I work with educators who are burnt out, tired, ready to go and leave education, and I help them turn their teaching experience to a six-figure career in the ed tech industry that still allows them to honor their teaching experience. So there is still going to be an education. But like I said, I have spoke to so many people who have been waiting for this vesting date of not just 2 years, not just 3 years, 15, 20, 25 years waiting. And I remember I told you, you were like, what? You were like, what? Now, mind y'all, Akira has been my money coach. Like, I have been learning a lot about money. And I think the biggest thing that I love about you is that you don't bring any shame to it. Because a lot of people are like, oh, you should know this. You should know this already. You should know this. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. So I'm about to find out. So I wanted to say that for any educators who feel like, okay, maybe you did stay longer than you needed to, there is no shame. Now we know, and that's what the whole point of us having this podcast, to be able to talk about it. So a lot of them, I just feel like they just don't even know where to start when it comes to looking at their options. And I think that's really what I would want them to be able to leave this episode knowing, okay, where do I go to go figure out exactly what I need to do, what are my options are, etc.
Yeah, and also know that being vested and your retirement date are two different things, okay? Being vested means how long an employer requires you to stay employed in order to take all the apples, to take the ones
Mhm,
you put in and to take the ones that they may have put in on your behalf. And your retirement date is the date at which you reach retirement age or you leave that job and retire from it. Those are two totally different things. So the people who are like, I got to wait 20 years, you're waiting to your retirement date. Your vested date has more than likely already passed. I do not know.
mhm,
And somebody strike me down if this is wrong, but I don't know any employer that has a 15, 20-year vested date. That ain't happening. That is your retirement date, baby. That is
mhm,
not your vested date. So,
mhm,
as an educator, you will probably hear the terms defined benefit plan and a defined contribution plan.
mhm.
What those words terms typically mean is a defined benefit plan is essentially another word for a pension.
Okay.
And a pension is money that your employer puts aside for you while you are employed with them. And then when you retire, you have some set of money pretty much until you pass away, right? And they calculate it differently. Usually it's your salary times some other factor. Like they do there's a formula related to it, right? And they put the money in there for you on their behalf, right? This is not as popular, or if they do offer something like this, it's a hybrid. And so you'll see these things called like a hybrid plan or a defined benefit fit plan and a defined contribution plan. What the defined contribution plan means is that you contribute some of your salary and they match some portion of it on
Mhm,
their behalf. And so what is more common now is to have these hybrid plans where there's like a pension element to it and like a traditional, what we see now, retirement element to it, where they will match what you put in. What you have the option to do is take this money when you leave. Money that you put in is always, it stays your money,
mhm.
right? So if you put $100,000 in over the time that you are with them, you will leave and you'll take that $100,000 that you put in, right?
I think that's a big thing. I think people think that their money is gonna be gone.
Right. Your money is always your money. Just like when I left my job 2 weeks before being fully vested, I took my money. So when I called the lady up and I was like, I'm ready to roll." And she told me that number. That was the number that I put in, right? And so your money will always be yours. They do not take that from you. It's just a matter of, do you also take the amount of apples that they put in, or were you not there long enough? And a
Mm,
lot of times teachers, I mean, y- I would say 2 to 3 years is most common. Ranging, it's going to range on the city, the state, the county, whatever, but 2 to 3 years is what I've seen most common. Even if you haven't been fully vested, you can still take your money with you.
mhm,
It's just a matter of transferring that money into a different retirement account, but it is always yours and it can stay invested until you retire. It
mhm,
doesn't have to stay with the account that was with and associated with that employer. You can move it into your own account. You can pick your own investments. You can manage it on your own, totally separate and totally outside of that employer. So you have options. Do not stay somewhere
mm,
thinking that you have to in order to take your retirement with you. Now,
mm.
if you choose to do that, great, but don't do it because you think that it's your only option in terms of retirement, in terms of retiring, because it's not.
Okay. So basically they're saying, so for all people listening, educators specifically, they need to go and I'm assuming they go to their retirement, like go find out whoever, and that's for me, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was like, "I don't know, Kara, I don't know. I don't know." I just knew
Yep.
I had to leave, and I knew I could figure it out later, but you have to basically look up your retirement, look it up, and then what can they do to kind of figure out when
Yeah.
their investment date is? How would they do that?
So what you can do is you can call HR. Even if you don't know where to start, call HR.
HR.
And sometimes if you've been there a really long time, they may have changed, like that's okay. HR will know and
Mhm,
say, okay, am I vested in retirement and all? Do I have a retirement? Am I contributing to retirement? Am I, in any sort of pension plan? Ask them a very direct question, right? So you first want to make sure that you have some sort of retirement somewhere.
mhm,
Call HR, ask them. Then you ask them, is there a vested date? They will be able to answer this question. And then you can ask them, am I fully vested? Literally ask them those three questions. After that, ask them, okay, who is my retirement with? What firm is it with? And then you can log in yourself online and see everything right there. You can see how much money is in there. You can see what it's invested in. You can pull up every single thing you need to know, what kind of account it is, everything. But
mhm,
if you don't know where to start, call HR
mhm,
and they will tell you if you have opted to be in any sort of retirement plan, whether it's a defined benefit or defined contribution plan or a hybrid plan. And ask them what the different, like, ask them every question you have. HR should have an answer for you. And if someone is on the phone with you and they don't know, then you need to ask to speak to their boss because they should know.
mm.
So don't take no for an answer because they should be able to tell you about your benefits as an HR professional.
Okay. So, all right. So now that's one step. So if I got to figure out if I'm fully vested or not, etc. But I like that you shared that example of you left before you were vested, but you still came out making money.
That's
So
right.
what I'm hearing you say is even if you are not, let's say someone does have an imaginary thing where they have to stay here, etc. You don't have to stay. You can still take your money and we're making more money with this account. So I roll over my money and it's making money. So can you kind of talk a little bit about just for the teachers, like we most teachers, we had our retirement plan kind of set up for us where we just signed up to be a teacher and they gave us healthcare and they gave us benefits. They gave us the retirement and we were told that we have good retirement and to not leave the retirement. But now that there are a lot of educators who are looking to leave, and now that we're kind of knocking down the barrier, okay, now we have options. So let's say we're not investor, let's say whatever I want to leave. How can I still be able to retire pretty or retire rich? Is what my clients called it. What
Yeah,
yeah.
so you can still retire pretty, you can still retire rich. What it means is that you take what you contributed, you take that with you and you roll it over into another retirement account totally separate from that previous employer. Once you roll it over, and roll over means that you just take it, basically think about taking money from a bank and put it in a different bank,
Mhm,
right? If we want to make it super simple. So you're going to put it with a different firm and then you're going to make sure it's invested. As long as your money is invested, it's going to grow with the market, right? There over time, the stock market grows. This is not theory. This is a fact.
mm,
Go on the internet and look up the history of the stock market. Over time, it grows by 10% on average annually each year. This is not just make believe stuff. This is fact, okay?
mhm,
So, as long as you have your money invested long term, which means for retirement, it will grow on average 10% annually. And so once quote unquote, take it from one bank and put it in another bank. Now it's not a bank, it's a firm.
mhm,
But once you put it in the other firm and invest it, it will grow on average 10%, right?
okay,
And on top of that, you can also contribute more money each year.
mm,
Now, there are nuances to this, and I won't get into like all the details of like the different types of accounts, but when it comes down to it, you can contribute every single year to your own retirement account, even if you are not with that old employer anymore.
mm,
Even if you are with another employer and want to contribute money on top of that, right? You will you'll find out that you'll come across these limits. Like the IRS has limits that you can only contribute but so much every year, and that's what I won't get into details because the limits change every year, depends on what type of account, right? But what you do need to know is that you can contribute money on top of what you rolled over, on
Mhm.
top of what you may be contributing with another employer, so you can keep growing your account to make sure when you're retired,
Mm,
you retire and you're still getting paid. You're still
mm,
getting paid every single month. And you don't have to have a pension just to guarantee that you'll have money every month in retirement.
mm,
What you do have to do is make sure you're contributing to your retirement so that as your money grows, you take out a certain amount at retirement and not run out of money. That's
mm.
called the 4% rule. And again, I'm not going to go into like all
Yeah.
the technical stuff, but even if you do not have a pension, mathematically, you can take money out every single year and not run out of money until you pass away and go bye-bye,
Mhm,
and you'll be okay. And I think that's another misconception that people have about um, pensions,
mhm,
because this is probably I wish I knew the year this happened, but I want to say it was with what was that president? The New Deal?
mm,
Was that like, oh god, educators, bear with me. But the New Deal, I'm pretty sure historically that's when all this came out. That's
mhm,
when pensions became like super popular, right?
mhm,
And over time, we've transitioned to these other, 401k accounts that don't guarantee money for the rest of your life until you pass away. So that's why you'll hear people who are kind of older talk about pensions and like how they had a pension. And, they're like, I don't know why, companies got rid of pensions, but it's okay. Even if you don't have a pension, you can still have a retirement account and have money for the rest of your life
mhm.
mathematically when you invest in the market long term.
Okay, so there are options, is what I'm hearing you say.
So many options. You do not let something like this keep you in a place that is absolutely miserable.
Okay, so they have options. So educators, you can move your money. You have money, whether you're vested or not, you can move your money into another account. Now, do you have any advice as far as like, 'cause let's say they go into a full-time job, 'cause that's what I help people get into a full-time job. So they basically have options to either move it into their new employer's retirement or they can put it into their own account. Like just to
Yep.
let you know what I did. So I ain't gonna lie, I just said goodbye, peace. I left my retirement. I was like, I'll figure it out later. I'll figure it out later. And I don't want that to happen to you all because I'm sure I could have made some more money, but now because that happened to me, I get to have this podcast episode and tell y'all all about it so you won't make the same mistake that I made. It's not even a mistake. I just didn't know. I really didn't know. And I want everybody to know. But I was able to, I left it sitting there. I went to my ed tech job. I've worked there. I had two different jobs, but my job that was there for the longest, I had retirement as well. And then when I went full time in my business, I still contract with an ed tech company, but it's not a full time position where I don't get any benefits from it. So right now, I don't have an employer retirement plan. So what I did was like when I left, after I left my ed tech full time job, I took my ed tech retirement and my teaching retirement, and we put it all into one account that I can't remember the name of, but
Yes.
I'm still learning, y'all. I still have Akira as my coach, so I'm not gonna lie, but I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm a big girl. But basically, I took it all and I rolled it over. So for educators who are making that transition, they can either, like I said, just put it in there or the other one, right?
Yes, you have the option to do what you did. So we created a self-managed account for you, a traditional IRA, and that is where your rollover money is. You
Mhm,
can do that, or you can roll it over into your new employer's plan, right?
mhm,
The difference between the two is usually when you roll over an old retirement account into a new employer's plan, you are limited to what they offer as investment options.
mhm,
Again, not there, neither option is bad. Like you can't go wrong either way. If you roll it over into your own self-managed account, you have much more options in terms of investments that you can invest in. That's the only difference. One, you're limited to investments that that employer may be limited to, and that depends on the employer. Or you can roll it over into your own self-managed account, and then you can invest in, whatever investments that firm has on their website.
okay. So let's say, because I'm just thinking about all the questions they would ask. So let's say that they do roll it over into their own self one, and then they have their employer one. Is that a problem to have 2 different ones?
Nope, there's not a problem. You can roll over your old accounts into your own self-managed, and then when you get hired at another employer, you like what you contribute from the moment you're hired there until you leave will be within that account.
Mm,
You like, and then let's say you leave that new employer and go somewhere else. At that point, then you can put that into, what you just rolled over from the old accounts. But while you are actively with an employer, your contribution from that moment until you leave does happen inside of their employer account.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, yeah, I'm thinking of the questions, but I'm trying to keep it simple because I know that we can go down so many rabbit holes, but
Yeah,
either way, there are options. Best end date, find out your best end date. If it is, we don't think it's longer than 5 years, but if it is, you still can take your money and move it over.
that's right. All is not lost.
Yeah, all is not lost. You can roll it over into your new full-time job, or you can roll it into what do we call it? A self-managed
Self-managed account, yeah.
self-managed account. I'm gonna get all this vocabulary into a self-managed account. So we have options. Is really what we want to have everyone walk away with. Go to your HR, figure out what your account is, ask the same questions. If you all need to play this back and write down the questions, write them. And then I just don't want that to be a reason why you stay stuck. Because I think you left your position because you're burnt out, tired.
Yeah,
These educators are burnt out, tired, and I don't want this to be something that holds you back. Like you have freedom, you have options, and you can still retire pretty and rich.
that's right. That's right. Do not let this be the thing that holds you back,
Mhm,
because it it's not worth it. Like, you can take your money and you can still grow it and you can still retire pretty. You can still retire and not run out of money
mhm.
while in retirement.
So for those ones who are staying, I guess, so for the ones who think that, like, and they say, okay, I'm staying for these years, like, what benefit are they getting by staying?
If you are staying there because you're like, "I don't want to leave my retirement behind," I don't think you're really getting any added benefit on top of what you could already do, unless they've contribute so much money that you just can't think about parting ways with it. I'm trying to think,
Yeah.
like, you
I'm trying,
can.
that's why I want to know, like, for the ones who are like, okay, no, I want to stay, but I want to know what benefit is it? And well, I know this, not assumption. Making more money, having
Mhm.
more money to invest. So if you're having this great retirement, but getting paid under $50,000, getting paid
Right.
under $100,000, right? You're not really gonna even have, I mean, unless you are throwing in the money in there, but the whole point, there is not really that many benefits of staying with that 20-year, 30-year, because you probably not probably, most likely will be able to make more money, one, with a higher paying job, and with just like whatever options you have. Like you just don't have to stick to the one that they gave you. Is what
Yeah, and we could even, like, look at the math. So let's say as an educator, you get paid 50K,
Mhm.
and let's say you might contribute $4,000
Most
a
people contribute
year.
whatever the minimum, whatever they set
Yeah,
you up with, that's what most people are unless someone has went and did extra math, but whatever the standard is, that's what teachers are doing because they obviously they wanna get most of their paycheck. They're not really trying to.
right. Right, and so let's say that's $4,000 a year. Let me do the math on, like, what is
I love when you pull out
$4,000?
your calculator.
Listen, I love a good calculator. I pull out this calculator all the time. Okay, $4,000 is $333 a month. So let's say $2,000.
Okay.
2,000 divided by 12 is okay, $160 each month. Let's say you do that. So over the course of the year, let's say you contribute $2,000, which is about $160. And let's say your employer matches half of that. So
Mhm.
let's talk math here.
Check the
That would
math.
be $83 a month that they contribute. If
Mm,
I multiply that by 12, that's an additional $1,000. Let's say you get a raise, you go
mm,
to ed tech and you make 100K.
100K.
Girl, you could put
No, give us that math.
166 plus 83 is 250 a month.
Woo.
You would literally do what you would normally do and what they would do with
Mm,
just the so like it's just at that point it's just a math problem.
mhm,
It's like
mhm,
you are willing to stay here for $83 a month that they
$83.
contribute to a and again, I don't know what someone's math is, but this is what it could very easily be.
Mhm.
That's basically what you're saying. Like, I'm
Mm.
not leaving this job because
Mm.
$83 a month is too much on the line for me.
Mm.
And if I go to a job making double what I make right now, I can't
Mhm.
just contribute an additional $83 myself.
All I'm thinking is I can't even get my hair done for $80.
Listen, listen.
I can't even get my hair done for $80. And I'm not saying it to a lot of people. I'm just saying, like, now that we know that, like, with that math, now it's just the average. So you can do your math with your salary, but we're not really benefiting from staying.
Mhm. And let's say that they did $83 for the past 3 years. That's
Mhm.
$3,000. So, you can take a bonus and do in one click what
Yeah.
they did over 3 years.
Mm. Mhm.
So,
I
like,
mhm.
again,
Mhm. Yeah. The math ain't math then.
don't give an engineer a math problem because I'll
Listen,
do it. I'll do it.
listen. The math
So,
ain't
really
math.
think about what you're saying no to, and again, a lot of it is people just don't know, and so
Yeah.
that's what this podcast episode is for. I wanna let you all know that's what you're saying. You're saying
Yes.
that I'm staying here for $83 a month,
Mhm.
$1,000 a year that they will contribute to my retirement on top of what I'm already contributing, and even if they've done it for the past 5 years, I would rather stay here instead of putting another 5K in there over the course of a year.
Mhm. 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 And then so I like you said, the bonus, 'cause, for one, working as, like, you not only you will double your salary, that's one thing, you're gonna double your salary, that's gonna happen, like, there are not a lot of ed tech jobs, like, especially the ones I help people get in with, that are making under 100K, like, you will eventually get there. So you're gonna be more money, and then you can take that money and have more money to contribute, and then for you to stay with that $83 a month, that extra $1,000, that's a bonus. I've had a bonus over at my first bonus was like $6,000.
Mhm. And depending on what sort of account that you contribute to, it's tax deductible. And
Mm.
so if you're worried about taxes,
Mhm.
then if you contribute to a tax deductible account,
Mhm.
then it's tax deductible. So you're not paying taxes on that money.
Explain that for some people who
Yeah.
don't. Yes.
So you'll hear, let's see, in the education space, things like 403B.
Mhm.
If you work in a public space, it's a 401k.
Mhm.
And what that means is when you look at your pay stub, you'll
Mhm.
see your gross amount. So let's say for that pay period, you got paid $5,000. And then you'll see a section that says tax deductions,
Mhm.
something like that.
Mhm.
And it'll say $500 to your whatever retirement plan. That means that before taxes were taken out, you put $500 towards your retirement plan. And so then it'll take and you'll see your healthcare plan under there, all that stuff. And then it'll say, okay, after all my tax deductions, now I got to pay taxes on $4,300, or
Mhm.
now I got to pay taxes on $4,000. And then the section under that will say federal taxes, state taxes. And so you're taxed on the money after you pay your tax deductible um expenses, essentially. And so when I'm saying, let's say you want to pay $5,000 lump sum towards a retirement account,
Mhm.
do it to a 403B or do it to something like a traditional IRA that is pre-tax money. You don't pay taxes on that $5,000.
Mm.
It's deducted.
Mm.
Hmm.
All I hear are options, options, options.
Exactly.
Options, options, options.
Yes.
Okay, I think those are all the simple questions without us going to the other rabbit holes, but educators, you have options.
Yeah.
Call your HR, figure it out, and then now that we have that, then we can focus on the other stuff that we do. Now that you know that you're not stuck, let's get you a job.
Exactly. And um this applies to people outside of the
Mhm.
education space,
Yeah.
anyone in, working for the government,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Same sort of thing applies usually to you too. But yeah, even outside nonprofits, you see some of the same stuff. So no matter who you are,
Mhm.
you've got options.
You have options. And we are so glad that y'all learning from what we had to go through so that you don't have to go through it. Figure out if you're vested. Now I'm gonna start asking all my clients,
Right.
you vested or not? And even so, you can still take that money. That's still your money.
Exactly. So don't let something like that don't let $83 stop you. Do not let
Yes.
$83 stop you.
Yes. Well, for my podcast people listening, where can we find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Aqura Nicholson. I also have a podcast called Women Talk Money. So wherever you listen to your podcast, Women Talk Money, and also on my website, aquranicholson.com. And what
Yes.
about you?
So y'all can find me at Pretty Rich Teacher on TikTok and Instagram. TikTok is where I'm at most of the time, but I also have a podcast also titled Pretty Rich Teacher. So really easy to remember. And I drop all the things about how to make more money as an educator.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll be doing a class for your clients here
Yes.
soon, talking about the options that they have. And so you've heard just a snippet on this
Mhm.
episode. I'm going to be diving in depth with your clients for
Nice.
that training. So if you're already one of Jasmine's clients and it's coming to you soon, you might not even know it.
Yep.
And they'll have options to work through any sort of rollover with me. So if you're interested, you can either contact myself or Jasmine, and we will make sure to give you all the details.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for this podcast. This is going to change so many lives. So
Yes.
many lives. So many people are not going to stay because they think they had to. We have changed, even if we change one life today, I know we're going to change more than one,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you have options.
Yeah. Someone's going to be like, oh, I'm out. See
Yeah.
ya.
Like, deuces, deuces. Yeah, I literally had a comment. Someone's like, I'm vested. Nope. I'm going to reply back and say, listen to this podcast episode.
Exactly. Exactly. So good. It was so good speaking with you today.
Likewise, Akira.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.